Arthur Christmas. No one is insignificant. Arthur Christmas is a wildly overlooked Christmas film that hides its sharpest truths inside slapstick and sleigh chase chaos. It looks like a story about logistics, but it is really a story about meaning. It looks like a story about one missed present, but it is really a story about the part of the mind that feels missed. And it is called Arthur Christmas, not Arthur's Christmas, because love is not possession. Steve represents the ego at its most impressive and most dangerous. Efficient, metric-driven. Certain that a working system must mean a righteous outcome. His control room is a temple to the belief that salvation is engineering. Children become numbers. Care becomes throughput. Then the film drops the one atom that detonates the whole worldview. One child is missed. One gift falls into the shadows. Steve meets that moment with a percentage. 0.0000000 something is not math in this story. It is the ego saying that innocence can be sacrificed to protect the story of perfection. It is the ego saying that worth is conditional. And the moment worth becomes conditional, the line never stops moving. Because the ego never excludes only one. If one can be rounded down, all can be rounded down. That is the hidden violence inside Insignificant. It teaches the whole system that value depends on performance. So love gets turned into a KPI. Trackable, reportable, optimizable. And the instant love is audited, it is no longer love. It becomes specialness wearing a clipboard. Arthur lives at street level. He works in letters, which means he works in meaning. He touches handwriting. He hears tone. He remembers that behind every request is a mind trying to be seen. The control room cannot do that, not because it is evil, but because it is disconnected. Gwen's letter is the film's pulse. It is not a demand for stuff, but a tender worry about whether the giving will cost the giver. It asks how Santa can do it without harm, and that question exposes the difference between love and strain. Love does not burn itself up to prove itself. When Steve misclicks Treleu, the mistake is a perfect symbol. Abstraction selects the first match on a list. Care reads the whole address. Disconnection does not look like hatred. Disconnection looks like efficiency. Disconnection looks like champagne while one child wakes up to an empty space. Arthur cannot accept the rounding error because love is not almost all. Love is either present or it is not. Love gives all of itself or it is not love at all. Partial love is not love with limits. Partial love is specialness negotiating. That is why the missed child breaks everything. It exposes that perfection in form can still be loveless in content. Malcolm represents the fear of losing identity. He is Santa, but he is also trapped by Santa. Retirement feels like disappearance. Who would Malcolm be without the role? Grand Santa represents the hunger to be remembered. He wants to prove he still has it. He wants the picture. Yet the deepest irony is that Santa's entire magic depends on not being seen. The ego craves witness. Love does not. And then Brony arrives, like a quiet metaphysical correction. Brony is not a side character. Brony is the hinge that makes movement possible. Brony knows function without identity. No grasping, no need to be important. Just alignment. That is why Brony can adapt to chaos without panic. Panic is always identity trying to survive. Alignment has nothing to defend. The skipping a generation choice is surgical. Grand Santa goes with Arthur, not Malcolm. Arthur brings care. Grand Santa brings memory of what Christmas used to symbolize. Brony brings steadiness and practical movement. When the need to be special falls away, the impossible becomes workable. No way is never a fact. It is a decision not to see. Even the technology is redeemed in the end. Tools are dangerous only when they replace meaning. So the film does not crown Arthur as an owner of Christmas. It reveals Arthur as the one willing to remember what Christmas is. Not a delivery operation, a symbol of unconditional giving, a refusal to leave anyone out. And the ending quietly rewrites hierarchy into function. Steve becomes COO, which is exactly where measurement belongs. Malcolm retires into relationship. Grand Santa rests. Brony is promoted. Arthur leads, not through control, but through care. Make someone happy. Make just one heart glad. Because no one is a rounding error in love. That is why the smallest exception is the biggest alarm. It is separation trying to stay hidden behind success.